Well, here's a common question that we got, and we hear this at our speaking engagements too. It says here, doesn't the Bible say that a day is 1,000 years to God? Well, in a time relative sense, as far as how long God thinks things take, yeah, but this is often coming from 2 Peter 3:8, where it says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. People don't get that second half of the verse, and the big round numbers indicate to us this is just telling us that time doesn't mean the same import to us that it does to God. He's independent of time. And to say that this is some kind of calendar equivalent, God has a different calendar than we do. He thinks in bigger chunks of time, sure, but time doesn't go any faster. And of course, this is all to try to water down and make excuses and make the Bible and the 6 days of creation last millions and billions of years. And there's another verse there, Dr. Sharp.
Yes, this is a quote out of Psalms 94, and it just simply says, for 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night. So this passage is not a narrative, it's metaphorical. And it's not saying that God's days are 1,000 years long. It's simply saying, in comparison to the contrast or to the context from verse 3 to verse 8, that God being outside of time, time is in him. We live and move and have our being in him. God doesn't have a past or a future. He's always now. So wherever God is, it's always present tense. He's the I am, not the I have been or I will be. He's the I am.
That's what Jesus said.
That's right.
Before Abraham was, I am.
And so he's always I am. So there isn't any past or future in his relationship to space-time. So he's outside of it, and it all abides in him. So this is not saying that his days are 1,000 years long. But it is giving us a hint that the range of time that we have to deal with in the space-mass-time continuum in the created world, in this present sphere of existence, is in the thousands of years and not millions or billions.
Yes.
Had it said a day with the Lord is as 1,000,000 years or a day with the Lord as 1,000,000,000 years, then there might be some significance to that with the age of the earth concept or idea. But it's not saying that. It's just telling us that God operates outside of time, and here's the key, that he can take a catastrophe like the flood of Noah, that it's in this context, and do the work of 1,000 years in a day. And that's exactly what he did, and he showed that to us in our lifetime in 1980 at Mount St. Helens. He did the geological work of a single day in just a space of a few hours. And so we understand that this doesn't talk about the age of things. It just says that God can use things in a time, space-time system and accomplish geologic work in a very short period of time. So that's what this is telling us. It's telling us nothing else than that. I've had people say, well, what are you going to do with that verse? I'm going to believe that verse because it doesn't say anything about the age of the earth other than it says that God operates outside the sphere of space-time.
Unless you're trying to compromise the Bible,
right,
to make friends with modern misconceptions of science, and I would call it. And you made a good point too, Dr. Sharp. If the earth was millions of years old, then why wouldn't he have said, well, a day is as 1,000,000 years with the Lord? And the Bible uses big numbers like that. Talks about the angels flying around the throne of God in Revelations, and there were thousands and thousands of thousands and tens of thousands.
That's right.
Which ends up being several billion angels.
That's right.
So the Bible does mention big numbers like that, and it just didn't because it isn't true.